So I haven't played Minecraft in a good minute, and since I've been gone, it seems like Minecraft has added a ton of new things into the game. From flowers being added to the game, to tweaks to the creaking, to a bunch of new blocks that have been added that I was extremely surprised about. And so, with that all said, today we're going to be doing a deep dive into all these new additions to Minecraft. So let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is the bundle. Now, the bundle has been in development for about 2 years or so, and we're finally getting it into this update. It's going to be coming in 16 different colors, which are all beautiful and colorful. Now, the only downside to the colors is that if you dye into one of these colors, you cannot revert it back into the regular thing. And I can show you guys that right here, right now. So as you guys can see, I could put it into a purple bundle, but I am unable to make it into a regular bundle. Now, hopefully they fix this, because it would be kind of nice to be able to revert it back to just original state, like this one. But unfortunately, you cannot make this bundle go back into the regular bundle by putting it in a cauldron. Now, what you can do, though, is you can get a black dye or any kind of other dye and make it into a different color bundle. So that's on at least the bright side. But unfortunately, for right now, we are unable to make it back into the regular bundle. Now, if you guys have been sleeping under a rock, you don't exactly know what the bundle does, let me go ahead and show you guys what it's all about. So as everybody knows, with the bundle, you were able to put 64 miscellaneous items inside of it. But those items have to be stackable. Unfortunately, we are unable to go ahead and put a bunch of non-stackable items inside of here, which is kind of a bummer if I'm being honest, because if I'm going through, let's say, a nether fortress or something like that, and I get a bunch of horse armor, it's gonna kind of suck that I can't just put a bunch of, like, a stack full of horse armor inside of here. So hopefully they go ahead and change that, or at least fix that in some way, where you're at least able to put a bunch of non-stackable items inside of here. I feel like that would be a great addition to the bundle. Now, with actual stackable items, you're able to go ahead and put them all inside of here just like this by left clicking. Now, if you want to get them out of the bundle, though, you go ahead and right click them all like so. Now, unfortunately, with the bundle and shulker box, you're unable to put shulker boxes inside of bundles, but you can go ahead and put bundles inside of a shulker box like so. Now, the reason they probably did this is so that you don't have some kind of infinite inventory glitch or something like that, because if we did have that, that would be pretty overpowered in my opinion. Now, the last thing with the bundle, whenever you go ahead and place items in here, you can go ahead and see at the very bottom that it has a progress bar. Now, that progress bar simply shows you how much room it has left to be able to fill inside of there. Now, whenever you want to get the items out of the bundle, you simply right click inside your inventory and they come straight out. Now, when the items do come out, though, they have a specific order that they come out, and that simply depends on how you put them in there. So let's say I put the spruce log inside there. Now, the spruce log is going to be the one item that's going to come out the very first. If you put the birch one in there, it's only going to be the birch. You will be unable to get the other items out until the previous items have been out of the bag first. Now, they also added a new flower into the game called the eye blossom. And the eye blossom comes in 2 different varieties. It comes in the open form and a closed form. Now, the closed form will be in the daytime. So whenever you have this in the daytime, it's going to be closed. But when it becomes nighttime, it becomes open. Now, my first thought was to make this into some sort of redstone contraption where it can act sort of like a daylight sensor. But unfortunately, if we go over here, it does not mess with the copper bulb at all. It doesn't give out any sort of redstone signal whatsoever. Now, fortunately, we are able to bone meal the pale garden biome, and more of these flowers will be able to spawn inside of there. So with that said, we are able to make some sort of flower farm that will give us infinite eye blossom flowers. Now, of course, we already have a flower that gives us orange dye, and I'm pretty sure that's either the orange tulip or the torch flower. But we've never had a flower actually just give us straight gray dye. Now, we have had flowers that give us light gray dye, but not actual just straight gray dye. And as you can see here, when I put it into the crafting table, it actually does give us the gray dye. And with the open eye blossom, it will indeed give us 1 orange dye. So that is actually very unique for the eye blossom. Now, with this update, we get a brand new tree called the pale oakwood tree, which comes with its very own wood type. Now, obviously, this one's just gonna be simply white, which absolutely looks beautiful. I love the door and the trapdoor that comes along with it. I think they're both amazing. Now, the leaves look pretty unique, and I do like them a lot, but I'm not exactly sure how they really vary in other biomes. I'm pretty sure they just stay the exact same the whole time. And the sapling even looks very, very cool. It kind of reminds me of the little cherry blossom sapling, if I'm being honest. Now, along with the pale oak wood biome, we get the pale moss blocks and pale moss carpet. Now, you see whenever you put the pale moss carpet down, it gives a little effect on the side of other blocks as well, which is actually pretty neat. It can vary from either 1 block high to 2 blocks high, which I think is actually very amazing. And along with all that, we get hanging moss, which typically spawns just with the little trees, like as you guys can see, the very far away over there. It typically spawns whenever you go ahead and plant one of these trees and it grows with it. Now with the pale oak sapling, you have to go ahead and put it in a 2x2 grid, just like you would do it with dark oak wood. You are unable to put it in just like a single one and bone meal because it will just simply not work. You have to put it in a 2x2 grid for it to work. Now this one, unfortunately didn't spawn with any hanging moss, so I don't know what's going on with that. But as you can see, as it pretty much grows, it also has these little leaves kind of fall down, which is actually kind of cool. I actually didn't even notice that. I didn't know that it kind of fell, like had little leaves just kind of falling. But that is very interesting for the pale oak wood. That is, dude, I'm just kind of hypnotized by the pale, like the leaves falling. That's actually amazing. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the pale oak wood and the little moss that's gonna be coming inside of this biome. So on to the next thing that we have, which is resin. Resin is a very unique block inside the game because it's only obtained by hitting the creaking. So pretty much whenever you're inside a pale oak wood forest, you pretty much go up to one of these creakings and you just start punching the hell out of them. Whenever you punch them, they spawn the little resin clumps on the side of this tree. Now it only goes onto the pale oak wood logs. It does not go on any other block that I have like found. I've tested like grass, netherrack, all kinds of stuff, and it just does not spawn on those blocks. Now whenever you hit them a bunch of times, it only typically goes out 2 blocks from the main source, or 1 diagonally. Now whenever you get the resin clump, you can do about one of 3 things. You can either place it on other materials like so to give it a little bit of an ore feel. It's kind of like whenever you place like iron ore in the ground or like golden ore, it has a little effect, but you're actually able to remove it and put it that texture on other blocks, which actually looks kind of sick. Or you're actually able to put it inside of a furnace to make it into a resin brick. Now you cannot put this inside of a blast furnace, sadly. It pretty much works how like nether brick and brick works, like how you put netherrack into a furnace, or you just simply put clay into a furnace as well. Now you're also able to make this into a block of resin simply by going into a crafting table and putting 9 resin clumps into the craft table like so. And then you get a block of resin. Now the block of resin actually looks pretty neat. To me personally, it feels kind of like a clump of honey. So as you guys can see on this little wall, just to me, I don't know. It really does just look like a clump of honey. If you guys don't think it looks like a clump of honey, I don't know what you're like looking at. But like if I put it in like a wall pattern like this, it blends in so well with like the honeycomb block and the honey block. Like it fits perfect. I might actually use this for like a build sometime in the future. Now whenever you get done smelting your resin clump and get your resin bricks, you are actually able to go ahead and put it into the craft table and make a resin brick. Or that is kind of weird. This says resin brick and this is resin bricks. That is kind of a weird little thing. Does that do that for all of these? Nether brick, nether bricks, brick. I actually never noticed that they just, it's literally the same name but just like an S at the very end. That's actually kind of neat. Now with the other resin blocks, they're pretty simple to make. You can either put this inside the stone cutter and get all 4 of them like that, or you can use the normal crafting recipes as I'm about to show you. So you can make stairs, you can make the walls, or you can go ahead and make slabs. Now with the slabs, obviously you can go ahead and make the chiseled resin bricks. These are all pretty darn neat and very, very convenient. They actually look really, really nice. You are also able to go ahead and kind of mix them in with bricks, red nether brick, and just regular nether bricks. Now if you guys can see them, they actually mold in really, really well, like with the little corners right there and right there. Now I heard someone say that they don't really mix in with the regular bricks too well, but I actually do see them mix in very, very well. I mean, I can see why they wouldn't be able to kind of be a little bit more clearer as these other two are. But if you actually look at it very like kind of focused, you can definitely see how they can kind of clump in together pretty darn well. Now, the only reason I can kind of see them saying that is simply because the colors of the bricks don't really match up with the colors of the resin bricks. So that's the only thing that's kind of off-putting with the bricks and resin bricks with that. But other than that, they can definitely kind of mix in with each other like that. You're also able to put this as an armor trim, but you do not use the resin bricks. You actually use the resin clumps. And it pretty much works as any other kind of ore like amethyst, iron, and all that good jazz. Now this one right here is actually the resin one. It's kind of just a brighter version of the copper one, but it actually looks a lot like nicer than the copper one does. The copper one's like more dull, kind of boring colors. This one's kind of like bright and kind of pops out at you, if I'm being honest. So I almost forgot that there's technically another way to obtain resin, and that is by simply breaking the creaking heart. So if I sit here and just punch you with my fist for a little bit, like so, it'll eventually break and give me about 2 to 3 block things of resin, like so, little resin clumps. So now if I do this again with just a regular netherite axe, it'll simply just give me the same thing again. Now you can also break those blocks with any kind of tool with silk touch. So you can use a wooden hoe, a wooden shovel, a stone hoe, a netherite axe, an iron pickaxe, pretty much anything that can have silk touch, and it'll go ahead and give you the creaking heart, even if I do it just like this. Along with this update, we're getting updated banner patterns. So before, they just kind of came up with like a little scroll, and the only way you were able to tell the banner patterns apart was by the name of the banner pattern. But now we're actually able to distinguish which banner pattern is which, simply by the little symbols on top of them. Also with that, allays are actually able to distinguish them as well. So if I give an allay this little banner right here, and I throw all 3 of these banners on the ground like so, he should be able to, I guess he's just gonna go away. And that, I kind of forget that. Oh, what the? Now he came flying back. So whenever you throw these on the ground, he will only be able to give you the one banner pattern that he is holding. He will completely ignore these 2 banner patterns completely. As of before, as you just gave him a banner pattern with the previous texture, they wouldn't be able to distinguish which banner pattern is what. So thankfully, Mojang has updated that, and it actually helps out with item sorters as well. So that is very, very helpful. Now we are moving on to our very favorite mob of this update, the creaking. So the way that the creaking actually spawns is that you needed to have the creaking heart in between 2 pale oak wood logs. Now, you cannot have 2 creaking hearts in between 2 pale oak wood logs, because it will just simply not work. Same thing if you put it horizontal. You cannot put it between 2... You cannot have 2 creaking hearts between 2 pale oak wood logs, because it will simply just not work. Now, the way that they spawn is simply if you turn it to nighttime. If you wait until it becomes nighttime, they'll simply just appear out of nowhere. Now, this is not the only way that they spawn. They don't only spawn at the night. Now, if I set it at the daytime, they'll of course just disappear. Now, they don't just spawn from it being nighttime. They also spawn whenever you make the weather a thunderstorm. So we're gonna go ahead and make this a thunderstorm, and they should be able to spawn as soon as it starts raining and getting a little dark. So, just like that, as soon as the thunderstorm comes up, it begins to have creaking spawn right there. They will either spawn because it's nighttime or because of a thunderstorm, so just keep that in mind. So the creaking heart is actually able to emit a redstone signal, as you guys can see right here. So if I go ahead and make it to daytime, it will go ahead and stop emitting that signal. But once it becomes nighttime again, the signal should, yep, like that, the signal goes ahead and starts to go again. So you can pretty much use this as a daylight sensor underground without even having to have it reach all the way up to the sky. So that's going to be very, very useful for you redstone component people out there. Now the creaking is actually unable to take any kind of damage whatsoever. Either that be from punches, from bows, from literally anything. I could set this guy on fire if it'll let me, and he just will not take any damage whatsoever. You could put him underneath a magma block, and still he takes no damage from that whatsoever either. You could put him inside lava, and all he'll do is float to the top of the lava, not taking a single bit of damage. You can attempt to try and drown him, but he'll just either float to the top or just will not drown whatsoever. No, I'm in powered snow. Okay. This is not going as planned, unfortunately. I don't know. There we go. Now I got him in powdered snow, and as you guys will be able to see, that all he'll do is sit there and eventually start to shake vigorously, like so. but he will not be taking any kind of damage whatsoever from any of this stuff. They're pretty much invulnerable to any damage whatsoever. Now, whenever the creaking spawns, it is only able to spawn 16 blocks away from the creaking heart. So if I sit here and go in the sky and kind of just spam it, you guys will be able to tell that it only spawns 16 blocks away from the creaking heart and no more. But other than that, it will simply just stay right there. Now, they also can only go a maximum of 34 blocks away from the creaking heart. The moment they get to the 35th block, they will break. They'll pretty much just explode like they usually do, and then they'll respawn at near the creaking heart, at least a little bit closer. Now, once they get to the 34th block, they will be unable to hit you until you get back into the range of the creaking heart. So at least you have some kind of way to get away from them. You have some kind of range that you can run away from these things as well. They are also unable to spawn on top of slabs. So as you guys can see here, if I keep sitting here spawning him over and over again, he will not spawn once on any of these slabs whatsoever. He will continuously spawn on the blocks around this. He will despawn, respawn, but he will never spawn on the slabs whatsoever. Now, another interesting thing about the creaking is that you are actually unable to name tag them whatsoever. If I try and name tag him in creative mode, it does not work at all. If I put myself in survival, you still are unable to name tag him whatsoever. You can sit there, punch him, do whatever, but you cannot name tag him at all. They also do 1.5 hearts. So if I stay here and let him attack me, you can see that he does 1.5 hearts. Just like that. What's also interesting is that whenever you have a boat or minecart, they're actually unable to get inside of the minecart or even inside of a boat whatsoever. They'll just simply nudge it away from them. So you're actually unable to actually capture these mobs whatsoever. The only way you can actually be able to get one of these mobs to prank one of your friends is to actually get the creaking heart and put it somewhere around your base. Now, if you go in creative mode and you actually spawn in one of the creakings, they actually still do only have a half a heart. So you're actually able to damage it completely and actually kill it with just one hit. You are also able to put it on fire, put it in lava, and it will indeed die. That's pretty much all we know that's going to be inside this next update in Minecraft. So I hope you guys are just as excited as I am for this new update to come out, because I cannot wait to mess with the new wood types, new resin blocks, and even to try and capture the creaking. So until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!